It's September 19th, 2020. Rather nice day, 24C right now. I'm really behind in my mite testing this year, but better late than never, I suppose. I'm going to check these pails, see what's left in them. This is second round. The nukes could use probably, oh, here we go, weather band thing again. The nukes could probably use more. They've only had 2 gallons, so I refill those. But my priority here right now is do some mite testing. I'm particularly interested in testing some of my OTS queen hives. I did that notching, I think it was the 19th of June, and I got some really good queens. It seems the populations are fantastic, the honey production is excellent, and sounds like it's hunting season. So I'm interested to see what the mite levels are because of the brood break. Some theories say that the mite levels should be pretty low. So I'm really interested to compare that to the other colonies that I have here. I'll get some of the new colonies that were started as nukes this spring, check those, and check some of my overwintered colonies that are on their second year queen. So just compare everything. Usually end up doing a few rounds of oxalic acid vapor in the fall anyway. October is what I usually do for that. I'll get them fed up first and then do the vapor. So it's a beautiful day here to be working on this. And look at this Kubota. He looks a little different today. He looks a bit weird. He's short. I'm doing some mowing with him, so I took the front end loader off. He drives like a little sports car with nothing on the front. So anyway, yeah, I'll get the other camera going here, and I still got no remote mic, but hopefully it won't be too windy for some audio. Anyway, hope you enjoy the video. So you're looking at the back of the hive here. I'm gonna smoke the front, smoke the entrance. It's the guards that are the crankiest ones. So what I've got here is I've got my little easy check. I put methyl hydrate in there. So that's a little easy check. You can wash the bees. I put methyl hydrate in. I haven't bought it in a while, so I don't know what the availability of it is today. I've got a half cup measure. We're told that a half cup is about 300 bees. And I'm going to do it kind of the easy way here. I'm going to scoop off the bottom instead of pulling frames. This pail is quite full. So get this off of here first. There's lots of bees under the pail. Set that here. So I'll tip this forward. Yeah, I can put it there. Polystyrene always gives a little bit of a challenge. Hopefully they don't mind this too much. Boy, they're heavy. So the box sits on the front of the pallet really nice. I'm going to choose these here. And I'm sure the queen is marked. So I should see her if she's down this far. Really, she shouldn't be hanging around down here. So that's a half a cup. Dump that in there. Slam the lid. And put this back down. That looks like a really nice colony. Wow. It slid off on me anyway. And a really heavy one too. I'd say they're ready for winter. Wow. Nice weight. It's no wonder they haven't finished that pail. Get back to them anyway. Okay, so all the bees are dead now. And we'll just wash. You may notice I'm wearing pants today. I'm just sweating. Not used to wearing pants. 24 degrees, I probably would have been okay at shorts, but it's hard to predict. The other way. There's one mite. Now some may say, well, picking bees off the bottom there isn't the best place. You should pick nurse bees off the brood frames. There's not many brood frames going right now. But you're right. Brood frames are the best place. But in my opinion, if you got mites on your brood bees, your nurse bees, your young bees, that may be where most of your mites are. But you'll still have mites on the rest of your bees. So if I'm choosing a subset of bees that maybe don't have the biggest infestation on them, then I just have to take that into account when I look at the count, the mite count, and I can say, well, if I choose off the bottom and I see one mite, then that might equal choosing brood bees, nurse bees off the brood frames. That might equal 2 mites or 3 or something, Okay. I still only see 1 mite. So I like the look of that. So that's an overwintered colony too. So that's good to see, because that colony, of the subsets of colonies that I have here this year, that colony should be the worst off for mites, because I have overwintered queens, 2019 overwintered queens. I have 2020 nukes, so new starts this year. Those should theoretically have low mites. We're going to count some of those. I have nukes or colonies that were started new this spring. Those should have low mites still, but we'll check those. And what I'm really interested in is the 2020 queen that was an OTS brood break late June, early July. I'm told that they'll have low mite counts because of the brood break. So I'm going to do that now. Look at this one here. That's that double I shook down the other day. They don't have enough space in that box for everybody. If I had a mated queen, I'd make a package out of that. Oh well, that's the way it goes, right? This is my 2020 OTS colony. You think she's doing good? She mated in July. Wonder what would happen if you tested off of the bees on the front here. I'm gonna do that. See what happens. I'm gonna reuse this alcohol. I've got 1 mite in there. Let's scoop some of these up. People look at this and they get all upset, and I understand why. I understand. I hope they don't get too upset. It's a sacrificial test. You know, you scoop up a half a cup of bees, and they die right away in the alcohol. But it's the best test for mites. And mites will kill the bees, you know. If you don't find the mites, if you don't test, if you don't treat for the mites, if you don't kill the mites will kill the bees. So, you know, you're saving bees this way, really, in the end. You're being kind. Doing this test, you're being kind to this colony. You're being kind to your whole apiary. Spot checking your apiary is fine. Your numbers should be consistent, or relatively consistent. I test, you know, generally treat anyway. I've never come to a full time and done my tests and said, oh, I'm not going to treat. Let's see. Let's see what's in here. There's nothing. I had one mite in there before. There's no mites now. That's kind of weird. There should be one. Nice to be out here with the bees again. I haven't been here for a while. The weather's been cool. They've just been feeding. There's nothing to see here. I hear a crunching sound. I think it's these bees chewing at this polystyrene. Trying to tunnel under the pails to get the feed. So these hives felt pretty heavy. That's good. Or maybe half this one. The colony looks good. I want to make sure they have lots of feed on board. Let's stand up for this one. Yeah, that's heavy. That's really heavy. Gotta knock that beard down. So they're good. We're gonna do some oxalic acid here anyway, but it's nice to know the mite levels aren't real high. Okay, this is a queen, a 2020 queen from a little bit later in the summer. So I would really expect the mites to be low in here. And that pail is pretty much done. The colony looks good from here. This is the back. Let's give the guard bees something to think about. I just like to get a baseline on these poly hives. Didn't open that container. So I'll scoop a few bees. Not quite a half a cup, but we'll go with that. So that's maybe 200 bees. The weight. Feels pretty good. It's not super heavy. Let's actually take a look inside. Population looks good. Nice warm day today, so I don't mind doing this on a warm day. Pretty heavy frame. They've got it filled with nectar. I know it's not nectar, it's sugar syrup. But what it's not is it's not completely capped, but it's full. That's full too. See, it's right full. So they're doing well. They've got what they need. Not one brood cell. Not one. These polystyrene boxes are in really rough shape. Not one cell of brood. So these are the bees that we're going into winter with. These are our winter bees. That's our winter cluster. I didn't see the queen. So I hope she's okay. We'll put this back on. There's a little bit of syrup left. Try to give them another one just to make sure they've got plenty. Alright, I didn't shake this. I think the lab agitates that for 5 or 7 minutes or something to get a really good test. There's nothing coming out of here. And I know this thing works, and I know I'm using it correctly. I've been using it for a few years. Last year my mite numbers were quite high this time of year. Zero. Nice. So there's some testing. I like what I saw. I like what I didn't see. And what I didn't see was a ton of mites. I didn't see any mites except that one. I'll do a little more testing. You know, I hate testing. I just hate doing that test. So admittedly I don't do it as much as I should. but I have to do it. I have to do it. You got to keep your bees healthy, and keep your bees healthy, you got to sacrifice a few bees, unfortunately. I like the weight that I felt here on the colonies that I lifted. The 10 framers were very heavy. That one 6 framer that I lifted, it was heavy. They have a little ways to go to cap all of that feed. I guess the 10 framers might too, but I didn't take those apart. But these were late. These were later on 6 framers. They were queens that mated late July, early August. And then it was it could have been the second week in August, or maybe the third. No, it would have been the second week in August that these 6 framers were made up with these new queens. So what I did was I used the brood that I had been producing here in the apiary with those old queens. So there was just a ton of brood in this apiary. So I pulled the brood and I boosted all of these new queens. They were in 3 frame mating nukes actually. So they all had 1 or 2 frames of brood. Some of them were doing really great. Some of them a little bit farther behind. And so then I stuck them in the 6 framers with, you know, I don't remember if I put total 6 frames of brood in there, but I might have. I was just trying to get rid of brood. There was brood coming out of the seams here in the apiary. So a real nice problem to have, but something you need to deal with no less. I would say this fall is going well. I'm happy with how this fall is going. The weather has been pretty good. It's been a bit cool this past week. This week coming, the forecast looks really nice. Daytime highs in the low 20s every day but one, and I think that day is Wednesday or Thursday, and it's 18, something like that. So boy, I'll take that. We'll see how much syrup we can get in. We'll keep the barrel full. We'll keep the pails on, especially the little guys. Make sure they have plenty. But other than that, you know, treat. I don't usually treat in October. I'll wait till I'm done feeding. So these little guys, you see the entrances, they're pretty big. I'm going to reduce those. They need a little bit of protection from the cold, but not so much from the cold, just to help protect them from the other colonies. They're out here with these big full colonies, and they need to be able to protect that entrance. So I'll bring that down to probably, I don't know, an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I have a little wedge that I stick in there, so whatever it is what it is. And yeah, when it gets cold, then the reducers will go in the rest. But I mean, there's so much bearding going on that probably don't need reducers at this point. So reducers, I may have shown you this before, but the reducers I use is just a piece of wood. It's nothing fancy. I cut that out of a plank. A plank is anything that's, you know, a 2-inch, nominal 2-inch. So I cut that on my table saw like that. So that starts life as a 2x4, 2x6, 2x8 something. And I'll cut that with the blade angled. So I'll see how that's a wedge. You can see that's a wedge there. So what it ends up being, my entrances are 3/4 of an inch tall. Consistently, everything is 3/4 of an inch tall. So how this is cut, hold it so you can see it, is this side is 7/8 tall, and this side is 5/8 tall. So it's 1/8 of an inch short of 3/4 and 1/8 of an inch tall of 3/4. So that goes in the entrance like that. So it just wedges right in that entrance like that. Okay, and just sticks in there, and Bob's your uncle. Fanny's your aunt, apparently. I just learned that, by the way. I didn't know Fanny was your aunt, but I know Bob is your uncle. So anyway, that's a, you know, don't overthink it entrance reducer. I mean, if you have 100 or 150 of them, getting too fancy is kind of a pain. But that's easy to make. It's cheap. I'll cut that actually I'll cut a whole 8-foot length, and then I just zip that up on my miter saw as I need them. And the small ones I have for the nukes are just, you know, small. I don't know exactly how big they are. So I think my next day working in the apiary is going to be cleaning up. You can still see the place is a disaster. I'm not very good at cleaning up, but I like it to be clean for winter, orderly, so I can find things. I come to clear snow out here in the spring when I want to bring the bees out, and I can't have junk laying everywhere. I'll run into it with the snowblower. Yeah, I'm having a good time out here right now. It's beautiful. The sun has gone past the trees, except for this one bee who's on a mission to sting me in the face. So not much today in the apiary. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching, and have fun.